What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Elder Scrolls Lore, and today we're going to be talking about the city of Mournhold. Now, before we begin, I'd like to thank Aries for allowing me to use his music, and make a shout out to the Discord chat in the link in the description below and in the channel header. With that being said, there's no news today. There's one community recommended video that I'm going to be working on. So with that, this is the video for today. My voice is back. I'm finally getting healthy again. It feels good to be not sick anymore. So with that, we're gonna hop into the city of Mournhold. Mournhold, or Almalexia, or the City of Light and Magic, is one of the 8 major cities in the province of Morrowind and is the capital of the Shahan. Now, Mournhold is also the capital of the Great House of Indoril, a political house that are very orthodox and conservative, and have a very strong connection to the religious aspect of the culture in Morrowind. Mournhold is located within the center of the Tashan Plains, on the shore of the Lake Amia in the middle of the Legomir region, and it depends heavily on the trade between House Halalu and House Dress, and the river basin around the city. Mournhold is nestled in between 2 mountains that leads into the Redolent Loam, sorry if I mispronounced that, and the Vale of the Ghost Snake. Mournhold is a fortress city with defenses all around the city-state. It is divided into 5 districts, each serving a different purpose than the other. With the rise of Tiber Septim, Almalexia commenced the construction of the outer city, which was named Almalexia in her honor, following the same name scheme as Vivec City and the Clockwork City. The inner city would be named Mournhold, retaining the name it had held for many years. The farmland south of Mournhold is occupied by the Great House Dress, which uses it to grow their salt rice. The Tribunal Temple is one of the many temples dedicated to the Tribunal, and it takes a large portion of the region itself. Mournhold is one of the largest cities in the continent of Tamriel, comparable to the likes of the Imperial City and the City of Alinor. Mournhold in itself is divided into 5 districts, as I said earlier, with each serving a different purpose. The Plaza of Brindisi Durum is the southernmost district and is the center of the social commerce in the city. In the middle of the area is the statue of Almalexia herself and Mahrunus Dagon, depicting their fight after the sack of Mournhold. Rivers spewing Lake Amia run through the plaza and give the gardens a vibrant look of colors. The eastern district is called the Great Bazaar, housing various stalls and caravans from as far as Port Televani and the Nibene. There is a theater located in the western portion of the bazaar as well. The district of the west is called the God's Reach, and is home to the nobility of the region and has the western entrance of the city there, leading into the Obsidian Gorge. Because Mournhold is the capital of House Indoril, many Indoril nobles live in God's Reach. The central area is the Mournhold Banking District, which has been converted into the Palace of Mournhold, where the Dukes of Mournhold live. The northern district is the Temple Courtyard, surrounding the Tribunal Temple of Mournhold, which is where Almalexia and the Tribunal resides. Many years ago, the city-state of Mournhold was one nation, combined with the city-state of Ebonheart under the leadership of Queen Leon, a descendant of the great Moraline, Witch King of Ebonheart. When Leon passed away, her 2 sons were joint rulers of the throne, and so the city of Ebonheart split into 2 modern-day representations, which would be Ebonheart and Mournhold. To ensure its safety, Moraline had left the Staff of Chaos underneath the city of Mournhold, supposedly the birthplace of Ifan, the god of Morrowind. Now, the staff remained within these confines of Mournhold for many, many years to come. Now, in 2920 of the First Era, the city of Mournhold was under the rule of Brindisi Durum, the Duke Prince of Mournhold, and was the ally of the Tribunal. Now, Durum had an affair with a Damiri witch named Turla, who hailed from the barony of, Phrygias, I'm going to assume that's it, probably got that wrong, and of the Skeffington Coven. When it was confirmed that Turla was pregnant, she was cast out of Mournhold and Brindisi's domain. The child's name was Basriel, who was born in the Kavas Rim Pass. Sorry, I'm losing my place here. And that is in between Cyrodiil and Morrowind. Sometime later, Brindisi Durum had paid the Morag Tong to assassinate both Juliac Cyrodiil and Riemann Cyrodiil III, both of which had conquered the province of Morrowind in the aftermath of the Fourscore War. Months later, the Skeffington Coven was raided, killing many witches in the group as well as the infant Basriel. Now, Turla was believed that the assassins were sent by Brindisi Dorum, killing the bastard child he had with Turla. Because of his grudge against the tribunal, Cassier Whitley of the Duminin lied to Turla, saying it was Brindisi Dorum that had sent these assassins. Believing the lie, Turla called upon Marudus Dagon and ordered him to destroy the city of Mournhold. Like Hamil Agbal destroyed the city of Gilvar Dalé, now Brindisi Dorum and many other innocents were killed in the sack of Mournhold. Enraged by this, Amalexia battled Marudus Dagon, casting him into the void for destroying her city. It was from then on Amalexia remained in Mournhold, watching over the city as it was rebuilt. As time went on, Juliac would be assassinated in the Doors Pass in Blackmarsh, and Rima III would be murdered by Corda of the Morag Tong in the throne room, marking the beginning of the Second Era. Now, during the interregnum period of 582 in the Second Era, the Lodos Plague had swept the entire region of Dashan, killing off the Denzians one by one. The Malburn was the group responsible for the disease, attempting to diminish the power that the tribunal had over the province. After the events of Narcissus, many citizens from Dashan traveled to Mournhold to seek refuge and avoid the plague. Amalexia of the tribunal requested the presence of the Vestige, a warrior of the Ebonheart Pact, to help her people in these dire times. The Vestige and Nairu Virian, an agent of the Morag Tong, investigated the city in search of the presence of the Malborn. Through manipulation, the duo uncovered a Malborn agent entering the House Dress farmstead and into the Mournhold Underground. Now, the Mournhold Underground houses the ruffians and lowlives of the city-state, as well as the entirety of the Dashan Plains. It was perfect for the Malborn to conceive something dangerous. To avoid detection from the Ornators of Mournhold, the Malborn utilized barriers created by the Morag Tong to remain hidden. It was in this center tunnel that Commander Cholera had mustered an army of Malborn warriors to invade the surface. The Vestige and Naryovirian were cornered by the warriors until Amalexia herself appeared before the two heroes, obliterating the Malborn threat inside the city. Some of the Malborn had escaped, infiltrating the Mournhold Temple, attempting to steal the judgment of Saint Valoth. During the waning years of the interregnum, Tiber Septim had usurped the throne of the imperial city, becoming the Emperor of Cyrodiil. Septim desired to conquer all the provinces of Tamriel one by one until they bowed down to one single banner. The Third Empire had garnered control over Hammerfell after the Battle of Hunding Bay and signing the First Treaty of Stros M'Kai. Talos, or Tiber Septim, had then set out to conquer Morrowind by order of the Underking, besieging settlements ranging from the city-state of Blacklight to the township of Kraganmore. To protect her beautiful city, Amalexia of the Tribunal commissioned the construction of an outer city surrounding the already established Mournhold. This more significant city was called Amalexia, following the naming scheme of the other tribunal domains, Vivec City and Sotha Sil. However, the extension was unnecessary because Tiber Septim and Vivec had already created the Treaty of Armistice, which incorporated Morrowind into the Septim Empire. This treaty also made the subcontinent of Vardenfell prohibited to the outsiders of Morrowind. Now, Tiber Septim invaded the province of Morrowind after the Great House decided not to bend to his whim. When Septim invaded the city of Mournhold, the king and queen had taken their daughter, Berenziah, into hiding, and eventually was taken by Symmachus, a Dunmeri general in the Septim Empire, to the township of Darkmoor, located in central Skyrim. There, Berenziah was taken care of by Count Sven Advinson of Darkmoor. Berenziah eventually escaped Darkmoor to the city of Whiterun with a stable boy named Straw. Both had a relationship together and eventually moved to the city of Riften, where Symmachus discovered Berenziah and dealt with Straw behind Berenziah's back. Now Symmachus took her back to the imperial city, where she would await the day she become the queen of Mournhold. Now into the Third Era, at the age of 18, Berenziah assumed the throne of Mournhold with Symmachus as her advisor. As time went on, Berenziah and Symmachus fell in love, leading to the two marrying years later. In 376 of the Third Era, Berenziah had her first child named Heliseth Halalu, and 8 years later she had a second child named Morgia, who was named after Symmachus' mother. Around the same time as the Staff of Chaos was stolen within the vaults of Mournhold by an illustrious stranger known as the Nightingale, the news was suppressed and forgotten about sometime later. The Nightingale supposedly had an affair with Berenziah, having a child named Dralsi Indaril, who was abandoned by her mother to hide the truth of the Nightingale's destiny. The man who she claimed was the Nightingale was Yaghartharn, who did obtain the Staff of Chaos by hiring the Nightingale to retrieve it. Dralsi traveled the world seeking her father and finally finding him in Shore Stone, where he passed the mantle of the Nightingale to her. She eventually passed the mantle to her daughter Carlia, who was active in the Fourth Era. Now, during the Imperial Silicurum from 389 to 399 of the Third Era, Urosepton VII was imprisoned, along with Talon Warhaft in the Deadlands by Yaghartharn. Kind of go through this, but at the time, the city of Mournhold was under the rule of King Xeric. Now, relations between Mournhold and the Empire were slowly deteriorating, causing civil unrest through the kingdom of Mournhold in an event known as the Arsenian War. Seeking a reason for this, Berenziah traveled to the Imperial City to seek an audience with Urosepton VII to learn what had happened to the heartland of the Empire. Symmachus remained in Mournhold to deal with the revolution stirring up within the city. However, Symmachus had unfortunately fallen in the battle during the Slaves' Revolt, bringing dread into the court of Mournhold. Learning that his friend had passed, King Edawir of Wayrest traveled to the city to comfort his friend's mourning wife. Edawir had visions of Rhea Salmain appearing in his dreams and revealing the truth about Yaghartharn. Berenziah had left a key that helped the Eternal Champion escape the Imperial dungeons. Both Edawir and Berenziah fled to Wayrest to escape Tharn's wrath, waiting for the time when the Eternal Champion would defeat the Imperial Battle Mage. Edawir and Berenziah grew fond of each other and eventually married, and they remained in Wayrest with Helseth and Morgaya. Her family member, Athin Leothan, assumed the throne in her absence. Now in 427 of the Third Era, portions of the Neverine prophecy had been fulfilled by the slaying of the vile Dagath-ur atop Red Mountain, thus preventing the spread of the Blight onto the subcontinent of Vardenfell and the rest of Tamriel. Around the same time, High King Athin Lethan had passed, ending his reign as the King of Mournhold. Without any direct heirs, the great-nephew Helseth Halalu assumed the throne. Many people believed that it was Helseth that poisoned Lethan, seeing how Helseth is infamous for pursuing his goals one way or the other. To quote a Nordic diplomat, quote, "The new king is manipulative, ruthless, and calculating. He's exactly what Morrowind needs," end quote. In his youth, As the Prince of Wayrest, he would blackmail, bribe, and assassinate nobles to grow his stepfather's kingdom further. Supposedly because of the Neverine's infinite power, Helseth had sent the Dark Brotherhood to kill them, ultimately leading to the end of the Mournhold chapter of the Brotherhood by the hand of the Neverine. When the warrior tried to dispute this, the whole situation was swept under the rug. Now as time went on, the Neverine ventured throughout the bustling metropolis of Mournhold, dealing with issues that threatened the denizens of the Indoril capital, among with other requests straight from Almalexia herself. There have been details of Neverine's exploits ranging from seeking a goblin army from the deep within the catacombs of Mournhold to retrieving the Mazed Band, which originated from Barilzar from the former apprentice of the great Sotha-Sil. Now, Almalexia grew pleased with her new champion, but soon concluded, coming to realize that her true identity of the Neverine. Neverine prophecy was instated in the aftermath of the War of the First Council, sealing the fate of the Tribunal. Not wanting to lose what she had accumulated since then, Almalexia plotted against the Neverine from within the shadows and slowly went mad as a result. Traversing into the Clockwork City, Almalexia killed her longtime friend Sotha-Sil and unleashed his fabricants onto the city of Mournhold, where she quickly returned to her temple. Now, to make a long story short, Almalexia went mad and killed Sotha-Sil, and eventually the Neverine would go and kill Almalexia. Now, it's unknown whether or not Vivec was actually killed in this matter, because he disappeared from the public eye, but it's unknown eventually if he actually died. So that is unknown. But Vivec's magic held the Bar-Dua atop his city, and now that he is gone, the magic that held the meteor faded and it continued to fall until it was restored by a machine known as the Ingenium, being operated by Vahum. Eventually, in the year 5 of the Fourth Era, the Ingenium had failed, and the meteor had finally destroyed Vivec City, leaving it as the Scathing Bay. This year would be known as the Red Year, since at the same time the Red Mountain would erupt and destroy everything in its path. Now, Mournhold was not affected by this event, but it caused an uproar in Mournhold and Almalexia city. It was at this time that faith in the tribunal had begun to dwindle, and House Redwin, a House Redwin counselor in Mournhold, created a relief effort to rebuild the settlements that were destroyed in the subcontinent of Vardenfell, which included Balmora and Saram. To this day, Vardenfell is continuing to be rebuilt. Now, in the aftermath of the Red Year, Morrowind was in repair and in a vulnerable state. The past 5 or 6 years have been rough for the provinces of Tamriel, and more specifically Morrowind. The Oblivion Crisis happened in 433 of the Third Era, besieging several locations, most notably the city-state of Aldarune. The Oblivion Crisis in Black Marsh was barely an issue for the newly formed government of the NXEL. Now the NXEL was able to push back the Daedric forces into Oblivion, establishing their own rule in Black Marsh. With their combined power, they invaded Morrowind. In the year 6 of the Fourth Era, Mournhold was sacked by the Argonians, leaving the city in ruin. Because of this, the new capital was moved into Blacklight, the capital of House Redwin, and now the Ascension War had left Morrowind in shambles, resulting in the destruction of Tyr and many Dark Elves being relocated to Skyrim and eventually Solstheim, which was given to the Morrowind by the High King of Skyrim in the year 16 of the Fourth Era. Now, by 201 of the Fourth Era, the city-state of Mournhold had been fully repaired. Many of the people that fled northwards had returned to the city. When the dissident priests of the Helamian established the new temple, any remnants of Almalexia were removed from the Mournhold temple. In its place, the temple built a new sanctuary for the real tribunal, which had consisted of Azura, Boethia, and Mafala. House Indral had lost a majority of the power with the loss of the tribunal, but remained a great house after the fact. Plaza Brindisia Dorum had changed significantly when the artifacts of House Redwin built a new building for the priests and pilgrims coming into the city to pay respects for the new temple. Even though Mournhold is thriving once again, Blacklight has since remained the capital of the province, especially since House Redwin has become the primary house of Morrowind. Now that is all we have for the large city of Mournhold. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed. I didn't expect it to be that long, but we're nearing close to 18 minutes now. So with that, I hope you guys enjoy. This was a interesting city to know. Probably my favorite to cover in this whole situation. With that being said, I have a planned collaboration coming up soon, so stay tuned with more news on that. And I'm excited to actually do that. I guess that would consider news I could have used at the beginning, but I was still unsure at the time whether or not I was going to actually say it. But with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed. Please like and subscribe. If you have any suggestions, please let me know in the comments below or in the Discord chat, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.